Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. I am Regan and today I offer you a Fire Emblem Engage video. We're less than a month away for the release of this game and I honestly can't stop thinking about it. So I decided to make this video, but we're going to talk about the Kingdom of Elusia this time. If you didn't watch the previous one, I'm going to link it in the description below. Where I talked about the characters from Brodia and the kingdom itself. So this one is going to be basically the same. I'm going to explain a little bit about the characters, a little bit about the kingdom, and of course the meaning behind their names. So once again, I am not an expert in this topic in a specific, so if I say something wrong, please, you're more than welcome to correct me in the comments or explain anything that was missing, any important information that you think you should say. You're more than welcome to leave all that in the comments below as long as you're respectful. With anything else to add, let's just get started. Elusia is a country located in the northeast region of the continent of Elias, and it is said to be a very religious country. The majority of the people that lives in this nation worship the fell dragon, including its king. These places are also very cold and with really long winters and a lot of snow throughout the year. They're in a constant conflict with the kingdom of Brodia, and it is said that in recent years prior to the beginning of the game, there's been some suspicious movements, but they don't really explain what this actually means. The king of Elusia is the sage Hyacinth, and he has two daughters. The oldest one is called Ivy and the youngest one is Hortensia. As for the meaning of the name of this kingdom itself, the original Japanese shows it at illusion, so I guess in the English version they try to go with something similar but not the exact same word. So I assume that the meaning it's just the same. Now let's move on with the characters, and we are gonna start with the King Hyacinth. We don't have a lot of information about this character other than he is a sage and he apparently seeks knowledge and wisdom. It is also said that he's the one that sent Ivy and Hortensia to invade Brodia in order to get the rings. His name Hyacinth comes from the flower with the same name. Now these flowers are normally bluish or violet, but they can also be found in white and pink. Something very particular about this is that the bulbs are actually poisonous. They have something that it's called or known as oxalic acid, and it can cause irritation to the skin. So it is advised to treat these bulbs with gloves. In the flower language, these flowers are associated with sorrow and jealousy, and this is probably because of the Greek myth of Hyacinthus. I think that's how you're supposed to pronounce that name, I don't know. So according to this myth, Hyacinthus was a very beautiful young man. He was a prince of Sparta, and he was admired by a lot of people and even some gods. Among these gods were Zephyrus and Apollo. But Hyacinthus at the end fell in love with Apollo, and these caused Zephyrus to be very jealous, and he pretty much killed Hyacinthus while he and Apollo were playing with some discus. Since Zephyrus is the god of the wind, he made the discus that Apollo threw hit Hyacinthus in the head, and he sadly died. So in his sorrow and unable to join his... I'm recording these in New Year's Eve, so if you hear any explosions, it's the fireworks. So in his sorrow and unable to join Hyacinthus due to the fact that he is a god, he's immortal, he used the spilled blood of his lover to create a flower known as Hyacinth. And that's pretty much all I have about these character. Again, we don't have a lot of information or personal information about this one. We've only seen this particular character in some of the cutscenes or the trailers that have been shown. So let's move on with the next character. Next we have Ivy. Ivy is the first princess of Elusia and the older sister of Hortensia. She's described as a mysterious and very serious young lady, and even kind of stoic. And according to the information that we have available, she invaded Brodia under the order of her father to retrieve the rings. Her name Ivy comes from the plants with the same name, which are considered to be evergreen plants. This just means that they continue to grow and remain green throughout different seasons. Something very interesting about this type of plants is that they grow more when they find like a surface to climb. For example, trees or walls. And sometimes the growth of these type of plants can be very, very aggressive to the point that they damage structures or that they damage the trees. But these normally only happens in North America because they're considered to be an invasive species. So they don't have like any parasites or diseases that can slow them down. Ivy was seen as a symbol of love, fidelity, and eternity by many ancient civilizations. As for the... This is what you get for recording a New Year's Eve. As for the actual meaning of the word itself, like the name, the words that gave origin to the word Ivy have an unknown origin. I'm sorry. Our next character is Hortensia. Hortensia is the second princess of Elusia and she is a younger sister of Ivy. The information about her that we have available so far says that she's a little bit selfish, but she's also very innocent and loves her family and friends deeply. And just like her sister, she invaded Brodia under her father's orders. Her name Hortensia comes from the plant known as hydrangea. This word is so hard to pronounce. So yeah, that's how we in Spanish called hydrangea, we call them Hortensia. So in the flower language, hydrangea have different meanings depending on the colors. This type of flower, we can find it in pink, blue, white, and purple. They're commonly associated with gratitude, apology, and heartfelt emotions. And this is because of a Japanese legend of an emperor that gave blue hydrangeas to the family of a girl he loved to make up for neglecting her. Like, I tried to look for more about these, but this is all I could find. So yeah, the blue hydrangeas are more associated with apology, the white are associated with vanity, pink with sincere emotions, and purple with pride and royalty. Now, the name Hortensia comes from the Latin word hortus, which I hope I'm pronouncing correctly, that means garden or of the garden. Now, the next character, it's a character that is not named after a plant, and I'm talking about Rosado. Rosado is a retainer to Hortensia, and they're friends with her as well. They're described as a very optimistic person, and it says that they enjoy cuteness and beauty. The wyvern, it has a bunch of bows and it's so cute. It's adorable. There's not much I can tell you about the name. Rosado, it's the Spanish word for pink or pinkish. Like, again, they're named after a color, which I find very interesting. If you've been following the information revealed to us through the Twitter account of Fire Emblem, you'll notice that there's only 4 other characters that are named after colors. Like, I don't want to say too much about them. Maybe you don't want to know about them. So but yeah, they're named after colors and they're supposed to be from Elusia too. I might make a separate video to talk about those 4 characters. But yeah, I find very interesting that they're named after a color. Even though all the retainers and all the royalty from Elusia are named after plants or flowers. Next, we have Kagetsu. Kagetsu is a retainer to Ivy, and it's described as a very cheerful and bright type of person that gets along with pretty much everybody. And also says that he cares deeply about his friends. For explaining the meaning behind the name, there's something very interesting about this character in particular. So when I'm putting together all this information, I don't go with a single translation. Like, I try to look for more than just one. to try to obviously make this as accurate as possible. So in the case of Kagetsu, it says that they have like a very exotic tone or a very particular accent. When I used Google Translate for this translation, it says that he is from an unexplored region. And the other two translations that I used, which belong to these two accounts here, they refer to that specific part of the information as the deep realm or a secluded realm. So I don't know what to tell you, but I have a feeling this character comes from Fateslandia, probably from Hoshido. That's kind of what I understand from that information, and obviously Kagetsu does it. He looks so different from all the other characters, like a different type of name, different clothing, and of course the mention about the accent. So I don't know. You guys make your own theories while I try to explain this name because it involves kanji. So apparently his name means moonflower, and this is because the individual kanji for flower can be pronounced as ka, while the one for moon can be pronounced as getsu. So kagetsu. So now about the flower itself, it can also be called, or it's also known as a tropical white morning glory, moonflower, or moon vine. And it has this name because it blooms during the night or during the evening, and because it's shaped like a full moon. Moonflowers are considered a symbol of hope amidst dark and distress, like a ray of hope that brings joy to everyone. But yeah, I think it fits with Kagetsu's personality. Our next character, it's Goldmary. Goldmary is a retainer to Hortensia, and I don't really have a lot of information about her. So all I have to say about her is that she is kind of timid and kind of shy, but she has a very high self-esteem. Like, she loves herself. And it is also said that she can be kind of bold sometimes. So her name comes from the flower known as Marigold. They just change the order of the two words. And it is native to Mexico, and we called it in Spanish, or at least in Mexico, we called it Flor de Cempasúchil or Flor de Muertos. Now, Flor de Muertos, it's because it's a very important part of altars for the Dia de Muertos. We use it as decorations for these altars, and you can see it like in a bunch of arts for the Dia de Muertos. Now, outside of these, Marigold is seen as a symbol of power and strength and positive energy, and it's also associated with the sun because of its shape and color. And moving on to our last character, we have Silke. He's a retainer to Ivy, and for this one, I still don't have a lot of information either. Same thing that happened with Marigold. So what's available at the moment, it's just that he kind of has an obsessive personality, and he is very, very quiet. It's also said that he has different hobbies and he is very passionate about them. And he's also looking like constantly for something new to spend his time. His name comes from the Sokoba tree, which is native to Japan, Korea, Eastern China, and Taiwan. And it's commonly used as ornamental tree or as a bonsai. Now, apparently it symbolizes different things depending on the region, and what I found is that in Korea it symbolizes peace, patience, and harmony, and it is also seen as a symbol of protection for towns and little villages. The name Sokoba comes from the Georgian word, this one right here, that means stone piler. And that is all for the illusion characters, guys. I feel like they're taking forever to present all these characters. It's just, it's going kind of weird. They're not going in any type of order. So that's all I have about them. I wish I could, you know, explain a little bit more, especially for the last two characters that I mentioned. that is all so far. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, follow me on my social media. I am gonna be talking a lot about Fire Emblem Engage and Fire Emblem in general. And hopefully I'll be live streaming Fire Emblem Engage once the game comes out. That's probably going to be either here on my Twitch channel. I still don't know, but follow me there too, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and see you on the next video. Bye!